The snow had not yet fallen, but the cold of Christmas morning cut through the city like a quiet rejection, and Arif Coleman felt it in his bones as he stood outside the glass doors of a brightly lit department store, holding his daughter's small hand and realizing that hope, once again, had arrived only to leave him behind. The lights were cheerful, the mannequins smiled with borrowed warmth, and inside people laughed freely. But Arif's heart sank with a familiar weight as security politely turned him away from the seasonal job he had prayed would save them this winter. In that moment, as the sun rose pale and tired over the streets, he wondered how a man could give everything he had and still be told he was not enough. Before the story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected miracles, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Hub, because stories like this exist to remind us that hope often arrives when we least expect it. Arif was 34, a single father raising his 6-year-old daughter, Alina, after losing his wife to illness 3 years earlier. He worked odd jobs during the day, cleaning offices, delivering packages, repairing broken furniture, anything that paid enough to keep the lights on. Christmas had always been Alina's favorite time, not for gifts but for the feeling of warmth she imagined existed everywhere during the day. A warmth Arif tried desperately to recreate in their small apartment. That morning, he had dressed neatly, rehearsed his polite smile, and brought Alina along because he could not afford childcare. When the rejection came, quiet and professional, it still shattered something fragile inside him. He knelt to Alina's level, smiled, and promised they would still have a good Christmas, though he had no idea how. They walked away under the clear daylight sky, stopping at a small public plaza where a modest Christmas tree stood decorated with paper ornaments made by local children. Arif sat on a bench, staring at his worn shoes, while Alina traced shapes in the frost on the railing. It was there that fate paused, watched, and decided to intervene. Across the plaza, a woman stepped out of a sleek black car, her presence calm but commanding, dressed simply yet elegantly, her eyes scanning the surroundings not with judgment but curiosity. Her name was Mira Hargrove, and though few recognized her face, she was the CEO of a fast-growing tech company known for its quiet generosity. Mira had come to the plaza for a brief daytime charity visit, avoiding cameras, preferring real moments over staged ones. She noticed Arif not because he looked poor, but because he looked exhausted in a way that only responsibility could carve into a person. She noticed Alina's careful patience, the way she leaned into her father's side without complaint. Mira watched from a distance as Arif gave Alina the last biscuit from his pocket, pretending he was not hungry. Something in that simple act reached her in a place success never touched. Mira approached slowly, sat on the other end of the bench, and listened without questions as Arif apologized reflexively for taking space, a habit formed from too many rejections. He explained his situation not as a plea but as a fact of life, speaking of work, loss, and responsibility with quiet dignity. Mira listened as someone who understood loneliness despite being surrounded by people. She learned that Arif had once been an engineer but had left his career to care for his wife, and when she passed, the gap on his resume became an invisible wall no one wanted to cross as daylight brightened. The plaza filled with families, laughter echoing between buildings, and Mira felt an unexpected ache. She had everything she had worked for, yet her life felt carefully structured and emotionally distant. She had built companies, signed deals, and commanded boardrooms, but she had never built a family, never shared a quiet bench on Christmas morning. Looking at Arif and Alina, she saw not weakness, but a strength born of sacrifice, and something in her shifted. Mira offered Arif a job interview that afternoon, not out of charity but recognition, and insisted he bring Alina along. That afternoon turned into an evening filled with conversations, shared stories, and an unspoken understanding that life had pushed them both into corners they never chose. Over the following weeks, Mira kept her promise, giving Arif a role that valued his skills and flexibility that honored his role as a father. Slowly, stability replaced survival, and laughter replaced fear in Alina's eyes. Time passed under bright daytime skies, and what began as gratitude grew into trust, and trust into something warmer. Mira found herself staying longer at the office just to talk, inviting Arif and Alina for simple lunches, discovering joy in ordinary moments she had once overlooked. Arif, cautious but hopeful, began to believe that life might still hold kindness without strings attached. They supported each other through small challenges, each day building something real without labels or expectations. One sunny afternoon near the following Christmas, standing in the same plaza where they first met, Mira watched Alina decorate the tree with confidence and joy. Mira realized that her success felt hollow without someone to share it with, and that the family she had not planned was quietly becoming her greatest achievement. She looked at Ariv, a man who had never asked for anything, and felt clarity settle over her like sunlight after a long winter. She asked him, not as a business decision or dramatic gesture, but as a sincere hope for the future, if he could imagine standing beside her as a partner in life, a husband not of convenience but of shared purpose. If this story has touched your heart even a little, please take a moment now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Hub, because your support helps bring more stories of compassion and second chances into the world. Just before this story ends, we have a special request for you to comment below and share what this story made you feel, because your words matter more than you know. That Christmas, under clear daylight skies and surrounded by quiet joy, Ariv realized that rejection had not been the end of his story, but the doorway to a life he never dared to imagine. And for those watching, the message was simple and enduring. Kindness, when given freely, has the power to rewrite destinies and turn ordinary days into miracles.